being on a fitness journey is confusing as hell, okay? Especially with the internet nowadays, there's so much misinformation out there that it's hard to know what is actually true and what's actually not true. So in this video, I'm gonna be answering the questions that I get asked the most from people who are trying to lose weight, who are trying to do body recomposition, who are trying to build their glutes, so that I can give you guys guidance as much as possible to what is actually factual, so you can get the results a lot quicker and not waste your time through the whole trial and error process. So the first question is, how do you get 100+ grams of protein in a day? At this point, I feel like we all should know that protein is like super important regardless of what your goal is, whether you want to lose weight, gain weight, body recomp, like build your glutes. You need protein because protein helps build muscle. So in a weight loss situation, if you have more muscle, you're actually going to be burning more calories at rest, because muscle burns more calories at rest than fat does. If you're someone who wants to build your glutes, you need to feed your ass, right? So you need to eat protein to build your glutes. Usually for like 95% of the people, you're gonna have to eat more than 100 grams of protein. And so how you want to divide this up is, one, you need to eat 3 meals a day, okay? You need to make sure you're having breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then you also want to make sure that each of these meals have minimum 30 grams of protein. That's gonna set you up for 90 grams minimum. And then you can throw in a protein shake if you want to, or you can add obviously more protein for like lunch and dinner, because it will be easier. You have more sources of meat that have higher protein amounts, right? So breakfast, for example, you have a few options with breakfast. One of the best options I will recommend are protein pancakes. They're super easy and quick to make, especially if you get the pre-mixes. So I know there's the brand Kodiak. They also have Flourish. I believe Trader Joe's has their own version as well. I personally like to use Kodiak. They have so many different flavors. I like the chocolate chip one. They have the birthday cake flavor. They have buttermilk flavor. And I know some brands have like seasonal. So right now it's fall. You have like the pumpkin spice flavor, maybe gingerbread in the Christmas season. Now with these mixes, you can just literally add water and go with that, right? But what I would recommend to add more protein in, get a protein milk. This is going to be a game changer, especially if you're a coffee drinker. Getting a high protein milk is going to help you get a little bit more protein in throughout the day. I know the brands in Canada, at least because I'm Canadian, you have Enjoy, which has the vegan version. So you have the almond milk and the oat milk. And then you have Fairlife for the people who still be drinking cow milk in 2024, which to me is a little crazy. But hey, do you know? So you can add those protein milk options into your pancake mix. You can even add in an egg to get an extra 6 grams of protein. And you can even add in Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt is such a game changer when it comes to protein, because one serving of Greek yogurt is typically between like 15 to 19 grams of protein. Okay, like that's crazy, right? So if you add like a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons of Greek yogurt, an egg, and some protein milk with the protein pancake mix, your breakfast of protein pancakes will literally be like 30 to 40 grams of protein. Add 2 slices of turkey bacon, girl, you're at like 40 to 50 grams of protein right there. Now for lunch and dinner, you want to pick sources of meat that are high in protein. So that's your chicken breast. A cooked chicken breast fillet that's like a 6 ounces or 170 grams when it's cooked, it literally is like 51, 52 grams of protein. It's a lot. You have extra lean ground beef. So this is the ground beef where it's 95% lean, 5% fat. You also have tuna. For the people who like canned tuna, you can get like a canned tuna that's like 30 grams of protein. I personally don't like canned tuna. You guys didn't know I'm like a little picky when it comes to food. I don't like canned tuna because it just looks like cat food. Like, why would I want to eat meat in a can? I just can't fathom that thought. I can't at all. But do you? If it works, it works. It's quick, it's easy, it's effective. You have salmon. You also have ground turkey. You have chicken thighs. Now with these meat options, you can make so many different recipes. One thing I like to make, well, I made it one time, I'm not gonna say I like to make, is basically a chicken buffalo tortilla wrap. You can have a salad if you just want to have that chicken breast and put a whole bag of pre-mixed salad that you get at the grocery store if you're like on a crunch for time. You can make pasta with extra lean ground beef. You get the pasta that has protein in it. You put like a tomato sauce, add cottage cheese in the tomato sauce. Literally 50 grams of protein right there. So if you have something like that for lunch and then something like that for dinner with the protein pancakes, easy over 100 grams of protein without having a protein shake. The next question is, how do you do 3 leg days a week without being sore? Now, if you're new to my channel, I say all the time that you want to have 3 leg days a week for optimal results for building your glutes. This doesn't mean that you can't build your glutes and see great results with 2 leg days, because my clients have definitely done that, but I do recommend 3 leg days. Now, I know for a lot of people, they think that, okay, if I do 3 leg days, I want to be sore every single day. Like, that's not the goal. Of course, the goal is not to be sore every every single day. I don't even want to be sore every single day. At first, you may be sore because you're introducing something different and new to your body, and the intensity is going to be a lot. But over time, the more you do it, your body gets adapted to it, and it's not going to be as sore as it was in the beginning. Like, think about it. If you're someone who's been working out for a while, you know those first sessions you've done at the gym and you were sore, like you couldn't even sit down to pee? That is what may happen at first. But you know how as you kept going over and over and over, week after week to the gym, you no longer get as sore. That's what's gonna happen in this situation. Also, the way I break up my leg days when I do 3 leg days a week is I'll have 2 really intense like leg days when I'm doing like my compound lifts, my squats, deadlifts from deadlifting, squatting, I already said that, hip thrusts, RDLs, all of that. And then my 3rd day I'll do like lighter stuff, maybe unilateral. So I'm not doing hip thrusts, or if I am doing hip thrusts, it's like single leg hip thrusts. I'm doing Bulgarian split squats, reverse lunges, a lot of upper glute exercises. So like maybe do 2 or 3 exercises. And so that way I'm not taxing my body with like deadlifts 3 times a week, squats 3 times, like it's not like that. You have to really break it up where you're hitting all 3 glute muscles enough throughout the week, but you're also not taxing your body every single day when you do legs, right? What are my thoughts on creatine, and do I recommend it? I highly recommend creatine to anybody on a fitness journey. If you want to lose weight, gain muscle mass, build your glutes, body recomposition, creatine is amazing, okay? It's well researched. It's one of the most researched supplements out there. It's completely safe to take. It's not gonna contribute to water weight or hair loss or depression. I know there's so many different things out there about it. Honestly, you are completely safe and okay to take creatine. What I do recommend is taking creatine every single day, taking a little scoop that comes in the little tub, and make sure that you're drinking a lot of water. What creatine does is creatine actually pulls water into your muscle. So this is the confusion where people think that, oh, you're gonna gain water weight, but you're not. The muscle gets the water, and so it makes your muscles look bigger, more defined. And it's also not a pre-workout, okay? Creatine is not made to be taken as a pre-workout. You can take creatine at any time of the day. I recommend in the morning so you don't forget later on in the day. It's completely tasteless, so you can mix it in water, coffee, your protein shakes, whatever. Creatine does give you more energy. It takes a couple of weeks for your body to really get the effects of creatine. And so what happens is the ATP, which is a source of energy, like cells in your body, it increases that ATP, and so that allows you to get more energy in your workouts, which allows you to lift more, which stimulates muscles. And then, as I said, creatine pulls water into your muscles, so it makes it look more bigger, more defined. It's amazing. Like, highly recommend you guys to take creatine if you're not taking creatine already. Make sure if you do take it though, it is a creatine monohydrate. I'm gonna leave the one that I take from Jack Factory linked down below. It's one of the cheapest creatines I've seen out there, because I don't think you should be paying like $50-$40 for creatine. Like, that's crazy. Don't let them scam you, okay? The next question is how to get toned abs. I'm assuming what they mean by this, and I'm looking over here because that's where the questions are, is how do you just get like a 6-pack, okay? And literally this comes down to your nutrition. You can't do sit-ups, mountain climbers, Russian twist, plank, leg raises to lose belly fat. You have to do a caloric deficit where you are burning more calories than you're actually consuming. Now, depending on how much body fat you have will determine how long you have to be in a caloric deficit for. So once you lose that belly fat by being in a caloric deficit, that's when you can start doing the core exercises. That's when you can do your sit-ups, your leg raises, which by the way are really good core exercises for the abs that will give you that definition, that will give you that 6-pack look. If you have a big belly because of belly fat and you're doing all these core exercises hoping that you can spot reduce the fat, you're wasting your time. It's just not gonna work that way. The next question is, what are some glute medius exercises? So glute medius is basically the upper glute muscle. This is what's gonna help you get that nice bookshelf look that, you know, when your glutes poke out from the side, like you stand up but you're facing this way and your butt goes like that upper part, that is the gluteus medius and minimus. They're both like, they're synchronous muscles, so they kind of work together. Some exercise will work one more than the other, but typically you want to work both of those muscles to build the upper glute. So what I recommend is seated hip abductions, standing leg hip abductions. So that's like the standing cable leg raises, in other words. You also have clamshells that are really good, fire hydrants. You have cable medius kickbacks. Basically any exercise really with your glutes where your legs are moving away from the middle of your body, right? So think of like clamshells, you're opening, closing your legs. Seated hip abductions, you're on that machine, Pads are on the outside of your knees. Start with your knees together, open up, close, open, close, right? I have a ton of videos on my channel already for upper glutes, so if you're really focused on building an upper glute, go ahead and check those videos out. The next question is, what is the difference between a compound and isolation exercise? An isolation exercise is basically an exercise that is primarily working one muscle. So think of like bicep curls. You know, when you do like this exercise, you're working primarily your biceps. When you do leg extensions, where your legs are extending out and then coming in, you're primarily working your quad muscles. Now, compound exercises are when you're working multiple muscle groups at one time in an exercise. So like squats, for example, you work your hamstrings, your quads, and your glutes. When you do hip thrusts, even though these are very good exercises for your glutes, you still work your quads, your hamstring, and your glutes. So that's the big difference, is that one is primarily working one muscle, isolating it, and the other is working multiple muscles together for one exercise. So you definitely want to make sure you're incorporating both isolation and compound exercises in your workouts. The next question is, how can you have a better squat depth, aka how can you get deeper in your squat? One thing I noticed with people as a trainer, both going to a commercial gym and what I see online, people think they go deep in their squats and they're really not going deep in their squats. You want to at least aim to go to parallel, which means that your hips are aligned with your knees at the bottom of your squat. If you're not sure on how low you are squatting, I recommend you getting a bench and going all the way down and see if you can go to the level of the bench. Even record yourself so that you can see. If you see that your butt at the bottom of what your squat looks like is higher than your knees, you're not going low enough. And one of the most common things I've noticed that will help a lot of you guys just get lower in your squat is opening up your feet stance. You don't need to have such narrow, closed feet together for your squats. Some people can squat with such a narrow stance, but for the majority of people, what I notice, it's not gonna work for you, especially if you don't have much ankle mobility or hip mobility. So open up your feet a bit wider, past your hips. When I do my squats, if you ever see my videos, my feet are open up past my hips. I even turn my toes out slightly, and that helps me get to parallel or a little bit below parallel. You also want to make sure that you're doing your mobility exercises, your dynamic stretching before your workouts. I cannot stress this enough. This is super important to warm up before, because it's gonna help loosen up your muscles. It's gonna help loosen up your joints. It's gonna help everything just flow better. And the more you do it, the better your mobility will get. And if you're not sure what these exercises look like, go on YouTube. I don't have any on my videos. I don't think so. Maybe on my warm-ups that I do for my leg days in my gym vlogs, but I don't really have videos like that, so don't look for them on my channel. But I know Squat University is a really good YouTuber. I follow him, I watch him, I learn a lot from him as well, who will tell you like what are really good mobility exercises and stretches you can do to get deeper in your squats. But really focus on that and also your stance, and I feel like that will help a lot of you guys get deep in your squats. The next question is, why are you not losing weight if you're in a caloric deficit? This question is a loaded question, because a lot of people who I do train for weight loss, they tell me a lot of times, I'm in a caloric deficit, I'm not losing weight. And there's usually two reasons for this. First reason is they're actually not in a caloric deficit. Like, they think they're in a caloric deficit, but once they start tracking their food, they're like, holy like I'm actually eating at maintenance, or if not a bit above maintenance. And I'm like, yeah, that's why your weight's not changing, right? So that is a common mistake. The second mistake is they're tracking their food and they're like, I'm in a caloric deficit, but when I look at how they're tracking their food, they're either not tracking it correctly or they're not tracking everything, okay? Because your juices, your sodas, your coffee, your alcoholic beverages on the weekend, those all have calories. Liquid has calories. If it's not water or tea, it probably has calories. Your snacks, the little 1-2 chips you have in between the day, they are calories. They add up. So you want to make sure that you're counting everything that you're eating. It sounds tedious, it's annoying, no one wants to do it, I get it. But the best way to see your results is by tracking. All these little things have calories and they add up, and they can put you from your deficit that you think you're in to actually being in a maintenance or even a surplus, especially if you are not able to see results by just eyeing it. track it for at least a couple of weeks so that you can actually get an understanding of what things actually look like, how much you're actually eating, and then from there you can make the adjustments. And once you start seeing the results, once you start seeing the weight go down, then you don't have to track anymore. But I honestly recommend tracking as like one of the best forms of knowing how much you're actually eating if you're not seeing any results. And then the last question is, how do you do body recomposition? So body recomposition is basically when you're burning body fat and building muscle at the same time. So what this looks like is someone who's 150 pounds, right? They're doing body recomposition. In a year from now, they're still 150 pounds, maybe 152, 148, whatever, kind of around those numbers. They will look completely different. Like you look at them and you're like, oh my God, girl, you lost weight. It's just like, no, I didn't. But they're more lean. They have smaller waists. You can probably see their abs. They're more muscular. And the reason behind that is because now they lost the body fat and they kind of replaced the body fat with muscle, okay? They didn't turn their body fat into muscle. They burned the body fat, they got rid of it, and now they replaced that with muscle. So their body's gonna look smaller, it's gonna look more lean because muscle also does take up less space in your body than body fat does. And so when it comes to body recomposition, how you wanna go about this is you wanna be lifting heavy, okay? You wanna be doing your strength training 3 to 4 times a week and training your entire body. You wanna really push yourself to progressive overload with your exercises. Do the big lifts, the bench, the squats, the deadlifts, the hip thrusts, right? The presses, the lunges, the RDLs, all those things. Do your heavy lifts, do your isolation as well, because we spoke about that earlier in this video. And you also want to make sure you're prioritizing your protein, because this is going to be super important and key to building the muscle. You hit your protein intake goal, you know how to do that because we spoke about how to get 100 plus grams of protein in a day, okay? And be patient. This is the key thing, being patient. You can't expect results to happen overnight, especially if you want something that's going to be long lasting. You cannot expect this to happen so quickly. It takes months, if not years. Even like myself, if you look at me, you're like, oh my God, your body's amazing, Tashana, like body goals. It took me years, like 8+ years to get this physique. So don't compare what your current physique looks like and be like, I want to get that next year because I want that body. And the body that I have took me 8 years to get. Like, it's just not realistic. The timeline doesn't work out, okay? Focus on your own progress, take pictures, take measurements, and every month look back and be like, wow, okay, 1 inch on my thighs. Wow, I lost 1 inch on my stomach. Wow, my glutes are getting bigger. And then at the end of your 12 months, compare your first month to your 12th month. That is the only comparison you should be doing amongst yourself. So that's basically body recomposition. And that's all the questions that I have for this video. If you guys do have any further questions that I didn't answer in this video, make sure to leave them in the comment section below because I definitely will make another one. You guys seem to love this type of videos. If you do like this video and it's the first time seeing this kind of video, I do have 2 other videos. I'll leave them here for you guys to click and watch. And as I mentioned earlier, if you want me to help you with coaching, I do have some spots available. Get started before the new year because you don't want to be that newbie at the gym trying to get it together. You want to be ahead of them, okay? I have that link down below for you guys. Once again, thank you for watching. If you're not subscribed, make sure you're subscribed to my channel and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.